That's a molted exoskeleton, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. One of the crayfish molted last night. It's a bluegill, I believe. These are banded killifish, black-striped top minnows, Well, we have a number of different fish in this tank. Trying to see how I can get the best angle here. So, excuse my fiddling around. So, in this tank, we have bluegills, banded killifish, black-striped top minnows, rusty crayfish. I'm hoping to try and catch a shiner as well, because I know they're in the lake where I catch these guys. This is all Illinois, so these are places where these are fish that you can find in Illinois. They're not all supposed to be from Illinois. Some of them are not native to Illinois, but they've found their way into Illinois waters, like the rusty crayfish, for example. But yeah, it's the first time I've caught bluegills in the lake. Didn't even know they were in the lake that I was at. And I'm particularly happy to catch the bluegills because if you could see them in real life, they're very pretty. They actually do have a very nice blue tinge to them. Whoopsies. There we go. Just kind of getting the camera a little better here. There we go. I think that's about as good as it'll get for right now. I do ship my shrimps because the shrimps are not, wild or anything. I do breed them. They're Neocardinia davidi. So yes, I do ship them. I've been focusing more on local sales lately, but my colonies aren't large enough right now that I want to sell any at the moment. My neon yellow shrimps finally have babies that are growing up. My pumpkin orange are doing well. I've got a second generation in the tank, and they'll take some time before they'll have quantities where I can reasonably sell them and have more leftover breed. The Dream Blues are getting close to the point where I'll start selling them again. I'll probably make a video when it's time, but you can also find me on Reddit in the Aquaswap section. I'm a confirmed vendor at the Aquaswap section, so I've sold plenty of times there. It's actually where I sell a lot of my shrimps. Nice community there, different aquarists. You never know what you're going to find for sale. Hello. Hi, Sharkies. Yeah, on Reddit. The subreddit specifically where you sell fish and stuff is called Aquaswap. It's where pretty much anyone can go on there and sell their fish and shrimps and such. So I do a lot of stuff on there. Whenever I do post, it's always up there first, because there's always people interested in buying my shrimps. So when I'm not selling directly to a pet store, or when I'm not doing private appointments at my location, then I generally sell on Aquaswap. Although I gotta get more foam before I can start shipping out again. But yeah, I mean, I've been shipping for a year and a half now, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I got all the stuff necessary to ship. I got the breather bags. I've got all the foam lining for insulation, packaging material, etc. Oh, you got a new fish? What kind of fish did you get, Sharkies? Oh, also any of the shrimps that I sell come with some free hornwort. I put that in the bag so the shrimps have something to grab onto during transit. And I only ship via live animal priority from the Postal Service. So I specifically choose a service geared towards live animal shipping. So a lot of people just use regular priority. I don't do that. Cool. Enders. Enders are fun. Honestly, the thing about breeding fish, oh, endlers, yeah, the name. I know I've seen endlers around, but endlers, forget. But yeah, I've seen them around. I can't remember what they look like offhand, but I think I've seen them at my local pet store before because the name rings a bell. My other fish tanks haven't turned their lights on yet because they're on a timer. Except for the wild tank here. Ah, gotcha. Alright, have a good one. Cool, cool. Yeah, guppy breeding is fun. I got my blue Moscow guppy breeding tank over to my right, but the lights aren't on at the moment. They'll come on in, let's see, what time is it? They'll turn on in about an hour. But yeah, blue Moscows are my favorite. They're hard to get the exact color what you want out of them, but after some selective breeding, they do pretty good. I have a ton of blue Moscow guppy babies right now. They have their own little 10-gallon tank for right now until they're adults, or at least old enough to distinguish what sex they are. And then I put them in my breeding tank and have it sectioned off. One side is males, the other side is females. Yeah, breeding fish is fun. It's interesting to see what happens with their genetics after they're born. I used to take different types of cobra guppies and mix them together to see what I would get. If I should move this over a little bit. There we go. See the side a little better. Yeah, guppies are great to start breeding out with, or start out with breeding. Probably the easiest one to do is probably mollies. They breed like crazy and they're pretty resilient. Cool, man. Keep on doing what you do. I remember when I started out on YouTube over 10 years ago, and I had nothing but maybe 1 or 2 subs, and it took some time once I figured out what I was doing with my channel. Kind of refined it a little better here and there, and eventually started gaining more subs, and yeah, it just takes time and, you know, good direction in what you're going for. And as long as people like what you do, and you like what you do, that's more important, is, you know, do what you want to do. What makes you happy. You don't want to get sucked into the cycle that a lot of people get into of doing videos that they don't want to do. But, you know, keep doing what makes you happy in terms of what videos you make, and yeah, just keep on doing it. What type of fish are the ones on the bottom right? Well, let's see now. If I go from the right, there's crayfish at the bottom. The ones towards the bottom right now are the banded killifish and some bluegills. Yep, just caught them earlier today around 1 or 2 in the morning. You guys have acclimated very well to the tank. It took a while to acclimate. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do something like a drip acclimation like I would like to do because of the size and the amount of fish that I caught. So they had to go in hard. But the nice thing about this tank and the fact that it's well water is the parameters are very similar to that of the lake. The wild fish do eat, yes. The crayfish eat the sweet peas that I put in there. I drop frozen sweet peas and they go nuts for them. All the minnow style fish, so the black striped top minnows and the banded achille fish, they will eat just any straight up fish food like fish flakes. They go for that right away. You know, they just eat it up. I'm not entirely sure what the bluegills are going to eat. I'm going to try and adapt them to some sort of tank style food. I'm sure there's something out there I can get that they will eat that doesn't cost too much. And for breeding shrimp, it just takes like the right setup. You know, good sponge filter that's been cycled. You know, as long as it's around 70 degrees Fahrenheit for the water. You want to make sure it's relatively hard water, so that way they have the minerals that they need for their exoskeleton. and just make sure the water is as pristine as possible. And they generally do pretty good. It's hard for the first few when you get Neocardinia davidi shrimp. It's you have to expect that some of them won't survive the acclimation. It's just the unfortunate truth about it. But the ones that do survive and do well will go on to reproduce like crazy. And yeah, I mean, it's very rewarding to see them do well. But one of the big problems here is I live in Illinois. My water is very different from where the shrimp normally come from. A lot of shrimp come from SoCal, or over in California, I believe. Cool. Yeah, one thing I like about breeding my shrimp here in Illinois is that when I sell to other people here in Illinois, they have a much higher chance of survival. Because here in Illinois, our water, no matter where you're at, is very similar to each other in terms of pH, GH, TDS, and stuff like that. So it's not hard for them to acclimate. But if you buy shrimp from a store or you get them online, they often originate from California, which their water is very different in terms of pH, GH, TDS, etc. So then they have a harder time acclimating and a higher rate of death. If your water is naturally soft, then yeah, certain. I mean, if you have live bearing fish like guppies, they need hard water. Otherwise, they'll eventually get the shimmies, which is an electrolyte deficiency. I've seen it happen before. It's pretty sad, but um, yeah, it's once you get the water parameters right and everyone's happy, then it's worth every little bit of time you put in it. I'm lucky that I have well water because my well water is really consistent. Yeah, man, good luck with that. I mean, it depends what store you sell them to. PetSmart, Petco, and Petland will not buy fish. I know Petco will accept donations. The best places to sell to pet stores are privately owned places that where you can talk with the owner or maybe the general manager and sell it that way. But you got to have really high quality stuff and be willing to sell at bulk prices. Otherwise, they won't be interested. Rock on, man. It's not a bad price for the fish. Depending on what you sell, definitely dictates. Not familiar with that area. I honestly don't travel a lot, so I haven't really been outside Illinois all that much. Honestly, what I really need to do is join my local guppy association. But I want to wait till my blue Moscow guppies are absolutely pristine A grade quality before I do that, because I want to go in with a good reputation as a breeder. I don't want to be known as the guy who sells mediocre blue Moscow guppies. Even though my blue Moscows are relatively pretty. I mean, they've got great fins and great color. It's just refining them to get a specific hue and a specific set of fins and the spinal alignment and things like that is important if I'm, trying to sell the highest quality show guppies possible. But show guppies, these kinds of guppies will go for about $40 for a trio once they're A grade. So, one male, two females for $40. I mean, I'll probably do a live stream of the guppy tank at some point in the future. Might be fun to watch. I'll try and set something up in the near future for the guppy tank. Well, it's been about half an hour, so at this point I'm going to shut down the live stream. And I'll be making videos in the near future. Just regular videos for a little bit. Just wanted to see if anyone would actually come on the live stream at this time of day. So, anywho, thanks for stopping by. I'll definitely see everyone in the near future, so yep, I try to limit the live streams in terms of their duration for right now until I really know exactly what I'm doing, because at this point I'm still more or less experimenting with live streams. So, but anywho, nice seeing everyone, nice talking, thanks for stopping by. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in a later date.